welcome to 2020 Design Trends by UXPin. Today I'm having an interview with my dear friend Piotr. Piotrek, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'm happy to. My name is Piotr Makarewicz. I'm a graphic designer based in Poland, in Gdańsk, actually. I've been designing for some 10 years, I can say. I'm a actually a designer, UX designer in CipherHealth. It's an American company, and I'm working remotely. So that's pretty new for graphic designers and UX designers. I've been actually designing for 10 years, and I've started with branding designs, logos, something pretty basic. And because I was doing this while I was studying in Gdańsk University of Technology, and I was actually studying programming, which is pretty weird for a designer. I was actually trying to, go further, and I started doing some web design. And after that, I actually went back to coding for a while, which was pretty interesting, but boring because it wasn't that creative, at least at the moment. Now it changes, a bit. So it's something new. And after that, I became like a full-fledged UX designer. But I don't like this term, UX designer. I don't like terms like at all. I think that we all are designers. So I call myself a designer with some hints and some knowledge of code.
Okay, thank you. So maybe you have something to tell us about maybe the landscape of UX or designer jobs, because I'm hearing that a title of UX designer is disappearing or something. Do you have like an opinion about that? What is going to be trending in jobs in design in 2020?
Yeah, so actually I've been thinking about that, and in the course of my career, I've been called many things. Sometimes it was designer, sometimes it was UI designer, sometimes it was UX designer. And actually, I know of those all labeling and all those terms that we are using to call each other in the industry. But actually, what we are doing is designing stuff, and there is a separate part which is research. It's a part of the UX designer's job, that's true. But I think that's the most separate part from the designer job, like the UX researcher. So even though we as designers have to be UX researchers, UX designers, UI designers, and of course sometimes information architecture designers, we need to be motion designers. So we can label people differently, but still there isn't a company that focuses a person only on one job. So just to say, I think that the designer term is the most important one, and I would like to call everyone designers, be inclusive in all of this. But also, if I want to be like specific for different terms, I think that trending jobs probably will be typographers, because they have been a bit overlooked in recent years as we have moved to phones and actually web. It has been trending for like 5 or 6 years now. It has changed a bit. Of course, there was a big Helvetica craze. Everybody missed Arial and so on. And of course, but we need more and more customized fonts. And actually, companies are doing this all the time. Apple has released, I think, its third typeface, because it was San Francisco, New York. There's going to be another one. So they are focusing on this one very much. And this is like really device dependent typography. And a lot of brands are creating their own typography, their own fonts, their own message hidden in the letters. And we need those people. Not every single designer can be also a typographer, because that's a really hard job to do, really hard job to do, even though it's a bit easier than it was a while ago when you had to actually chisel the font inside and engrave it. That was a lot harder. But right now you need to take into account many alphabets, many people, many sizes. And there was a very good trend a while back. I don't know what happened to it. There was a responsive typography. That meant if the font gets bigger, the width and the actual height of letters could change. So that was something very, very, very interesting. So I would like to see that come back sometime, because that was like really cool. And this is the way we could use technology in its best right now. So another thing, I think that motion designers are gaining more and more attention, because we need a lot more illustrations, but illustrations have become a bit dull because we are being attacked with illustrations all the time. They are like really cool, awesome, and we love them, but people need movement because our attention span is lowering day by day. So actually using some of the motion animations, some GIFs, some movies to give life to those illustrations is gaining a lot more traction. So I think that this is going to be the path. And as we are speaking about UX designers, I think that using the augmented intelligence, or AI, which is normally called artificial intelligence, I think it's going to be augmented intelligence for us. We will need another job, that is to work with AI to create new designs.
Okay, gotcha. So in terms of like typography, it's not maybe anything new, but you anticipate something like a digital typographer or something like that, right? And like more animation and more AI. So while we're at AI, I would like to ask you this one thing. What do you think about the whole discussion of AI designing, actually, like, instead of real people, like computational design, AI-based usability testing, or machine learning, or any use of machines and artificial intelligence in design?
So I gotta start off with one thing. Everybody is a bit scared of AI.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they don't really understand it. And actually, I gotta be honest, even people designing AI systems don't understand it fully. That's the problem. It's like a big black box that gets you from point A to point B, but it's like really good right now at prediction, at getting data, learning the best possible way to get the best possible result. But even though our imaginations run wild and we can think that they can take a person and find the best soulmate for this person, or maybe create the art for this person specifically, or whatever. No, it's not that simple. We need to take into account a lot of different factors, and AI is not actually capable of doing this right now, because we need to provide the data to it, and we don't have the understanding of the human brain in this whole matter. We don't understand it fully. We understand it's like percentages, single percentages even. So it's not possible for AI to create design which will wow us. They can do a couple, actually millions, and a lot of iterations on design, and create a lot of different variations of the design, but it's the human job to pick out the ones that stand out, that are the best. So actually, even though we are afraid of it, I think we should be glad that it's coming and it's going to be better, because imagine if we've got augmented intellect in, let's say, Sketch, in other different, in UXPin, anywhere, and we have a possibility of actually clicking a button that says, do more variation of this design. That's going to be super helpful, because you don't need to create 10, 15 versions. You don't need to iterate that quickly on yourself, by yourself. So that's something that could help us and take away those small meticulous tasks away from us. Mm-hmm. So that could help us really much. And if we are trying to say that AI is going to take our jobs, I think it's going to create new ones. Okay. Because we need someone who is going to actually work with AI and work with design and with developers and other people to actually deliver products with the help of AI. And those are going to be someone completely new. I think it's going to be the fourth category of trending jobs in 2020, I think.
Yeah, maybe. So you're completely not afraid of AI in design. You're like welcoming, embracing it with your arms open to just, help you with the computing power, right?
Yeah, in general sense, yes, but I'm also a bit afraid, as most people. I had to say, because we all watched Black Mirror, so it's like, it's not that easy to not be afraid of AI. But still, I try to embrace it. I try to understand it. I try to read papers about it, and actually, this predictive feature of it, it's super entertaining and really cool, because see Netflix, see anything that have to do with your music. Spotify does it greatly, and it's like super awesome. So we have a lot of things that it can do, but when it comes to terms of design, it's not that good yet. But I think that actually Airbnb created some kind of software that uses AI to create code out of design files, and this works really well. And I think that also that they're doing some kind of user research using AI. And that's really interesting, because actually user research and the whole UX approach to things is to understand the problem, actually get insights, understand the problem, try to solve the problem in different variations of the possible solutions, even trying to think of ideas that wouldn't be so so easy to come up with. So AI would be very good with that. It can help us. And also we need to iterate, and then we need to test. And as we need to test, we can use AI to do it, because that means presenting different variations. It means getting data, which is like real raw data. I'm not saying that the AI is going to do user research, as in go and interview someone, but maybe in the future that's also could be possible. I'm using AI right now for actually transcribing interviews, and helps me finding categories in it.
Nice.
So in this way, it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Not scary yet.
Smart. Okay, so we're talking a little bit about new technologies. Well, I'm really happy to talk to you about the technologies in design, because I know you are a little bit geeky. So, Maki, would you say that VR and AR are just breaking through from the gaming or like social media world more into designs, like real life, like business applications, like not like from the joyful and cheerful, playful way to like real life use of the technology?
That's really interesting, actually. The use of VR, AR that I've seen so far is mostly fun. It's like it's games. It's the thing with the AR kit that Apple is trying to do. Just make gaming more fun. We are trying to use AR for something meaningful, but we are starting with measuring stuff. We are trying to place stuff inside of our homes, like IKEA does with AR. But it's a bit clunky, actually, because we need to take our phones, we need to watch through them at the world. For us, maybe because we are not the youngest generation, which is used to sticking with their phones all the time, and actually, having this peripheral vision that helps them just to see stuff around the phone. And maybe for them, this is going to be something, a bit better and maybe really of use. But for us right now, it's actually kind of awkward to just walk around with your phone, with exclusion of Pokemon Go. We understand.
You say that.
But actually, it's a bit hard to use. And VR, in its sense right now, it's a bit expensive. Not everybody can afford it, so it's the opposite of inclusive. And actually, the uses that we can have with it is mostly fun. But why? Because it's not precise. It's not meant to be used for a long period of time. It can give you headaches, dizziness, and some other problems that you can have. And it's not for everybody. And also, we look weird. Did you see the picture of Facebook people with the new Oculus and Mark Zuckerberg walking around? Yeah, it looks weird. So that's the whole problem with it. So I was like thinking, let's say SAP, yeah, or Atlassian, or any other company that delivers software which is complicated and also really helpful, but it's meant to be fast and help teams. Do you imagine people sitting around with VR headsets and doing agile tasks, or maybe doing some retrospective? it's gonna be hard and awkward. So I don't think it's gonna like jump into this kind of design. But on the other hand, we can use some stuff that was used in VR and AR, because then we have to add a bit of depth to the whole design perspective. You don't have to move your mouse up and down. You can, go deep. You can pick stuff. We are still far away from Minority Report, but as we have some like really cool, yeah, really cool apps that let you draw in 3D space. Those have really cool user interfaces, because as you have, let's say, HTC Vive or Oculus, you can use your hand and actually just see the whole menu on your hand and pick out stuff. That's pretty futuristic for me. It's really cool. But actually, until this goes into real world, let's say that we have real menus on our hands, it's not gonna be a big help, because still you have to face with those basic problems, like standing with the VR headset, using your whole room to do that. And we need to actually jump over some hurdles to do it now. But on the other hand, there is something really cool for all the gamers. There is Half-Life coming out, which is going to be completely VR.
What is
VR? It's said to be Half-Life 3 or something like this. It's like Apex. I don't really remember the name, but it's going to be completely in VR. And they are betting on VR. So we'll see what's going to happen after that. Because if Steam, a huge company that has millions of dollars of revenue and actually knows what it does, is gonna put out one of the biggest games in the 2020 in VR only, that's gonna say something. It's saying something. It's like, I think it's gonna get somewhere, and maybe more people will afford to use the VR headsets and the whole machinery, and maybe we will find some more uses in it. Maybe AI will help. Nobody knows.
Thank you. So I guess unless the hardware just kind of gets there where our technology, like in terms of software is, it's still like maybe not 2020, but definitely 2020s, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. So Maki, tell me just one more thing. What are your professional plans for 2020, and whether you are like following a specific trend or something? What's up with you?
That's a broad question. But actually, as I'm working in CipherHealth, which is focusing on outreach in USA, and it's actually this is getting into medicine and pharmaceutics, and this is actually trying to help people. And this is also in hospitals and for nurses to round on patients. We have a vast, actually library of apps. I think that the next goal for me is going to include inclusive design, actually, because as I was doing, let's say, websites, let's say apps that needed to have as many signups, and we needed to have as many customers as possible and improve the whole experience. It's something different right now, because we do have the majority of people, 83%, that are fully capable, but some of them in hospitals, they are not, by definition. So, and we actually deal with a lot of different disabilities, with different problems for people. Those are mobility problems with actually, perception, not only color, but also, problems with the sizes, and actually devices, because sometimes we are being used on devices that are delivered by the hospital. So that's a big goal for me, because I want to use it and embrace it as most as possible. And actually, if I'm gonna say something about the design trends for 2020 for web designers, because I'm also a web designer in my spare time, typography.
Okay, so I'm so happy that you mentioned like inclusive design, because accessibility is something that we actually like count on with UXPin, and we have like quite a few like really awesome features to UXPin when it comes to accessibility, because we believe some people, some businesses just, as you said, like would count how many people in your like target users are like maybe disabled or something. And I say, if it's only one person, you should be, your design should be accessible, right? So I'm so happy that you mentioned it. Thank you very much, Maki. I think our time is up, but I loved talking to you and like learning from you. It was very insightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was very, very nice to talk to you, and I hope to see you soon.